and we are going to get into it. So thank you to everyone who's popping those answers into the chat box below. Please keep them coming. All right, so that's enough about me for now. We're going to jump over to Lisa, and she's going to introduce herself, and she's going to let you know a little bit about her, and then she's going to get us started on our first dish. So I need to spotlight you, and away we go.
Thanks, Charles. Hi, everyone. My name's Lisa, and I'm from Kooyarra. I live here with my 4 children and husband. I've been a consultant for about 8 or 9 months now, and I come on board purely because I absolutely love the machine. I'd had it for about 12 months, and every day we use it several times a day. So tonight I'm going to be making chocolate Easter eggs and some Rocky Road to put inside them. So we're going to get started straight away. So chocolate Easter eggs, it's actually a cookie dough recipe. So I've saved it to my weekly planner already. So we're just going to go straight in and start cooking. It says 450 grams of chocolate. I'm not going to use 450 grams because I've already melted some today. So I'm just going to do half of that. So approximately half that. And next, and all we need to do is pop the lid on. The first step it's going to do, it's going to blitz it at 10 seconds at speed 4. The reason why it's going to do this, it's going to chop the chocolate all into the same size pieces. So when it melts, it's going to melt consistently. So you might drop out the audio here. So I'm going to do 10 seconds, speed 4. Right, so that's grated the chocolate down so it's nice and even. I'll just show you really quickly. Just do it a little bit more. It's just a little bit big for my liking, so just a little bit more. And I'm just going to actually go back and 10 seconds, and I might actually do it a little bit faster this time, just to get a bit. That's perfect. So grated chocolate is going to melt a lot quicker and easier than big chunks of chocolate. So that's grated nicely. I'm just going to click next. We're going to pop our lid on and we're going to melt this. I'm going to do it for 6 minutes. I'm going to decrease the time because I've lessened the chocolate. I'm just going to start off with 2 minutes. 37 degrees, speed 3. Right, so I'm just going to melt at 37 degrees. It's a really low temperature.
Sorry, Lisa. We've just lost you a little bit. Yeah, just come towards that camera for me. Thank you.
I'm not sure if you can hear me.
That's better.
I might have to wait till it's finished. I'm melting and stirring.
Just with those chunks going around the bowl, Zoom decides that it's a little bit loud and just muffles Lisa's voice a little bit. So she can continue talking in just a sec once she's done a little bit of melting there. But I would love to know, is anybody using their Thermomix to melt chocolate? Is that something that you've done before? I always think whenever I melt chocolate about pre-Thermomix days when I used to do it in the microwave. And, you know, you'd have to stop it every like 20 seconds to stir it to make sure that it wasn't burnt. And if you didn't, it would burn from like the inside out. Absolutely love how easy it is to melt chocolate in your Thermomix. Kylie's just said she's a little bit scared to melt chocolate. What is it that's making you feel a little bit scared to melt chocolate in your thermo, Kylie? Maria said she's melting chocolate in there. Awesome. So you will notice that Lisa's sound will change. As it starts to melt, you'll hear less of the chocolate chunks being pushed around the bowl. And that's when you know that it is melting quite nicely and starting to get that really soft, smooth consistency. Got lots of comments coming in about melting chocolate, which is great. Carolyn is making chocolate Easter eggs tomorrow with the boys, but has never used the TM to melt chocolate. hopefully you are feeling confident enough to try it after seeing us do it tonight. Taylor does it when she makes caramel sliced and makes a hot chocolate. Erin wouldn't do it any other way, and Angela hasn't tried yet. So I'm excited to show you guys how easy it is.
That's started melting. It's not quite there. It needs a few more minutes, obviously. So I like to melt the chocolate. I'm not sure if you mentioned, Charles, I couldn't quite hear. In the Thermix, opposed to in the microwave. Obviously, in the microwave, it gets hot spots and then it can burn. And also, if you're using a double boiler, sometimes that water can get into the chocolate and it can seize it. So it's not a good idea to do it that way either. This way is definitely the best way. We'll pop it back on again. You're probably not going to hear me again, sorry. So I scraped it down, put a measuring cup back in and a lid, and we're just going to do another 2 minutes speed run.
One of the things that you do need to be careful of with melted chocolate, and Lisa just said it then when you're doing the double bowl method over the stove with the boiling water, if water gets into the chocolate, it will ruin it. It'll make it go really lumpy. So if you are doing it in your Thermomix, you just need to make sure that your bowl is nice and dry. As long as you've got a 100% dry bowl, you will not fail melting chocolate in your Thermomix. It is, seriously such a game changer, not having to stand there and stir it and not having to worry about, you know, those bowls on the stove and all of that stuff. So as Lisa just did, you can watch it through the hole in your mixing bowl as well, and see what's going on in there, which is very cool. Lisa, while that's happening, we might just jump over to Jess for a sec, if you like, and then we will come back to you in just a moment. Hey, Jess.
I'm Jess. So I am actually based in Kooiva, so a long way from Gippsland where those girls are. And I've been a consultant for about 9 months as well. So I started at the same time Lisa did. And I mainly joined just because I was loving my Thermomix and I wanted to learn more, and I was watching these Zooms and thought the girls looked like they're having so much fun that I wanted to get involved too. So tonight I am making a salmon salad. So I'll just go to my week as well. I've put it in here and I'll bring it up. Now with this salad, it does say that you don't need to peel your potatoes, but I thought tonight that I actually will. Just so that we can show you the peeler and give you a few more tips around that. So I'll get out of there quickly and get to the peeler mode. So this is the new peeler attachment. So it just sits in over the blades. So I'll put it in there like that and show you. So it just sits in there over the blades, and there's a blade cover as well. And instructions are always on the front here when you go into the mode. And it says that we just need to put in 600 grams of water and up to 800 grams of veggies. So I'll just go back to the scales. On the top here, and we'll put in the 600 grams of water. There we go. And then I'll put in the potatoes as well. So with the potatoes in the recipe, I needed 400 grams. So we'll just go, that's pretty good, 400 there. Don't mind my kids in the background. We just go to the peeler mode here. And it says 4 minutes on the peeler mode. So I'll put it on for 4 minutes, but I'll probably check it at about 2.5. They're only small potatoes, so we'll see how we go. I'll just let it go now and do its thing.
Awesome. So the blade cover peeler is an amazing attachment. It is such a game changer if you are a family that eat a lot of potatoes, carrots, beetroots, all those really hard veggies that we spend a ton of time peeling. You'll see just how amazing this is when Jess opens it up in a couple of minutes to show us how the peeler is going. We might just check back in on Lisa, Jess, while you're there and see how her melted chocolate's going.
I think we're done actually. I've just put it off a little bit longer. I might, yeah. So I don't want to melt it So it's too runny, otherwise it's just going to run straight out of my mold. So this is quite nice and thick. I'm sure you can see here. It's quite a good consistency. What I'm going to do, I just grabbed a chocolate mold from our local cake shop. Pop that in there. I did put a little bit of coconut oil in there as well, just so it wouldn't stick. I'm just going to pour it in and then literally pour it out again. So we just want a thin layer because we're going to do it twice. And the reason why we're going to do it twice is we don't want a thin layer and then putting the rocky road in and then it's snapping on us. So if we do it this way, it's going to get us a nice consistency and then stay where we want it to stay. I'll just do one. So I filled it up quite a lot and then I'm just going to pour it out again. The good thing about this chocolate is if it sets, you can just remelt it again. So it's not wasted once it sets. It can still be used. So that's just one layer. So I'm just going to pop that one in the fridge for a few minutes and then I'm going to melt this again and I'm going to do a second layer.
How good did that chocolate look, guys? When she lifted that up, you could see how perfectly melted that was. It was smooth. It had that beautiful shine to it. There was no lumps in it. Absolutely perfect. So I love seeing that. Cool. So Lisa is going to put that one in the fridge to set. And Lisa, we'll come back and check on you in a couple of minutes and we'll go back to Jess and see how our peel is doing. I don't know what's happening. Sorry. There we go.
Right. No, I'm back. We'll just stop you there and have a look. So you can see it really froths up in there. But if you have a look here, the potatoes look really good. They're all peeled, and I still have 1:50 on the clock there. So I'll just tip that out quickly, and we'll be right to carry on.
So that was just 2 minutes. Sorry, we're having some issues with Jess's internet tonight. So I do apologise. Hopefully it's going to be okay for us. It is, yeah, that peeler peeled 400 grams of potatoes in less than 2 minutes. So just amazing. And Jess, how good is having a second bowl?
Oh, so good. Did you see that? I don't have to wait now. I can just go straight in. I've actually got 3. So even a third bowl is amazing. I'll go now to our salad and we'll just go start cooking. So now we'll actually start from where we should have. So it's got adding in 500 grams of water. There we go. Teaspoon of salt. Don't really measure that. And then insert the simmering basket. So this is a simmering basket. It'll just sit in the top here. And this is where we'll be putting in the potatoes. So now I just need to weigh in the 400 grams of baby potatoes. As I said, unpeeled and cut into quarters. So I'll just really quickly, roughly chop them. And then you'll see, you probably can't see on the screen there, but as I'm putting them into the basket, it is still weighing them in there. So you don't have to weigh and worry about that. It can still weigh once it's straight into the basket. Anyone cooking their potatoes in the basket like this? So this is really good for mashed potato and steaming all sorts of making all sorts of dishes with potato when you can cook it actually in the bowl, and then you can do your relayed cooking. There we go. It's a bit under, but that'll do. Now we're going to place 4 whole eggs into the top, on top of the potatoes. So I've just got them here because we're going to boil them at the same time, and just pop them straight in the top there. And now I'll pop the lid on. But take the measuring cup out because we're going to put the varoma on top. So I'll grab that as well. So And then into the Veroma, we're going to put the 4 pieces of salmon. So I've got 4 smallish pieces in there. They're probably a bit under half because we won't be eating this until tomorrow. So I'm actually going to cook more of it tomorrow when it's fresher. So put that on top, and then I've already put the oil and salt and pepper on it. And then on the tray here, we're going to put the beans on top again. Put them on top there. I've already weighed them on there. Can do it again. So we'll just tear it. I was trying to be too organized. And just pop them on top. Then we'll put the lid on. Like that. And then this is just going to cook for 15 minutes on the Veroma on speed 4. So we've got the potatoes cooking, the eggs cooking, the salmon cooking, and the beans all at the same time. So that's me for a little bit while they all cook.
Thank you, Jess. How great is layered cooking? Is everyone using layered cooking at the moment? Is everyone using their Veroma at the moment? Pop it in the chat and let us know. Just to take a minute to appreciate, Lisa and Jess and I all earned our black Thermomixes in February, March, which was pretty amazing. And someone commented on Jess having 3 bowls, and I did say Jess earned all of those bowls along with her Thermomixes, which is very, very cool. So well done to Jess for earning all of those amazing things. All right, so I just realized my Thermomix is turned off. So I am going to be making hot cross buns with you guys tonight. So tell me, who's made hot cross buns yet? Is it something that you've done? Pop it in the chat and let me know. So you will notice I do have 2 Thermomixes out tonight. So I am the proud owner of 3 Thermomixes, which is very cool. I'm very, very lucky, and it does make my life much easier when I am making lots of things at the same time. So I am going to do fruit hot cross buns and chocolate hot cross buns. So I thought I would do them at the same time for you, so you don't have to watch me do the same recipe twice in a row. So let's see how good my multitasking skills are tonight. So I'm going to click on my week, and I'm going to select my hot cross buns. Now there is a chocolate hot cross bun recipe, but I really love this regular hot cross bun recipe. So I have just made a couple of simple changes to it to make it into a chocolate hot cross bun recipe. So I am going to scroll down the screen. Now, the first step of this is zesting some lemon. Now, I personally do not like zest in my hot cross buns. I don't think citrus should be in hot cross buns, personal opinion. If you are making your zest, go for it. But if you want to skip it, scroll your finger up the screen and then click on step 2, and that is going to take you straight into your next step. So our next step is place 250 grams of full cream milk. So you can use any milk. You really don't need full cream. You could use light. You could use almond. If you've got, lactose intolerance, whatever it is, lactose-free milk, all of those are going to work perfectly. Then we're going to hit our next button. We're going to add in a tablespoon of yeast. So 1 tablespoon is quite a lot. You will notice that most recipes are going to ask for like 1 to 2 teaspoons. Clicking next, so our guided cooking has 3 minutes on our timer, 37 degrees, and around to speed 1. So we do have quite a bit of yeast in this recipe, so make sure when you are sprinkling it in, sprinkle around the outside, not straight in the middle, because if you drop it straight into the middle, you are going to drop it onto your blades and it's not going to spread evenly. The reason that we have quite a lot of yeast in this is to help make them really, really fluffy, because we've got all the fruit, and that in these ones, we do have some butter. They are more like a cakey dough, sweet dough. So that's just going to help it to rise nice and fluffy there. So lots of comments coming in about people making hot cross buns. Awesome. We got a couple of people got them on the list to try. Someone has made fruit and chocolate. Awesome. Fabulous. So lots of people making hot cross buns, which is great. So some of the perks of making hot cross buns, obviously the costs So you're looking at about $1.70 for one hot cross bun at Baker's Delight. So you can make, you know, a dozen hot cross buns for about $7 in your Thermomix. So huge, huge money saver there. But also just the ingredients in them. So when I had a look at the Baker's Delight hot cross buns, they have emulsifiers 435, 471, and 475. They've got thickener 415, acidity regulator 330, and preservative 202. So lots of nasty numbers in your food. I know personally one of the things I love about having a Thermomix is being able to reduce our consumption of preservatives in our diet, especially for my kids. So it just means that I can eat more hot cross buns and not have to feel bad about it. So what we are doing here is we are warming or activating our yeast. So we have 3 minutes on our timer and we're on 37 degrees and around to speed 1. So we're heating that milk and that yeast, and that is going to help our yeast to activate. So by warming that and getting it to 37 degrees, that is the optimal temperature for yeast to be at. Sorry. Oh, I had a sneeze come on and then it went away. It's going to come back now. So 37 degrees is the optimal temperature for yeast, and it means that you're going to get the best rise possible. So by warming that milk, especially with milk because it is cold from the fridge, you know, we can't use room temp milk. So this is just heating it to help it to rise quicker and a much better rise, which is going to ensure you get a really, really soft hot cross bun. I have spoken to a few people who thought this recipe was a little bit dense. So I do find a second proof is really necessary just to make sure these are really, really light and fluffy. So we do our first proof after we knead, and then you shape them, and then it does say to pop them into the oven. But I like to leave them for about 20 minutes at that step to give you a really, really light, fluffy hot cross bun, which you'll see me do shortly. So we have warmed that. So we've just, you see, we've got our combined milk and our yeast there. And then it wants you to add reserved grated zest and flour mix if you're using it. Then our next step is 400 grams of baker's flour or 500 grams if you've skipped your zest, which we have. So we're going to use those scales, weigh up 500 grams. One of the other things I get asked a lot is about, can you use plain flour in baking, in bread baking? And I always say no, because baker's flour has a higher protein and gluten content. So it's going to be lighter, fluffier, and stretchier. If you use plain flour, you will find it can be quite dense and heavy, which is something we really want to avoid with our breads. So I buy the Wallabies baker's flour. This is a 5 kilo bag, and I burn through that quite quickly, especially at this time of year. And they are about $12 at Woolies for that 5 kilo bag, and it's so worth having in the cupboard. So going in with a pinch of salt. The reason we put salt in sweet baking is because it helps to bring out the flavors, so it's going to make it taste better. I'm going to go in with 70 grams of butter, 50 grams of caster sugar. I'm just using raw because that's mainly what I bake with. It's less processed. It's just what I use. So either is fine. And then 1 egg in each mix as well. So as you can see, so far I haven't made any changes. We are getting to that. 1.5 teaspoons of ground cinnamon. Now, if you've seen me cook before, you'll know I'm not much of a measurer. I'm more of a throw it in kind of cook. And then 1.5 teaspoons of ground nutmeg. So what I'm using here is mixed spice, because the next step is cloves. And I didn't have any cloves, but I did have mixed spice. And mixed spice has cloves in it. It's cinnamon, cloves, and nutmeg usually. So I've kind of got all three. So I've done my cloves, done my nutmeg, done my cinnamon. Now with your chocolate, you might want to reduce your spices. That is up to you. But I do like to put the full amount in there because I think your chocolate hot cross buns still need that spicy kick. And then we're going to go around to speed 6, 7, or 6 seconds. So we have just combined our mixture together before we go into our kneading mode. So just giving it a bit of a combine there. Now it wants me to scrape down the sides using my spatula. Give it a bit of a scrape. And then this one here, our fruit one, wants 100 grams of sultanas and 70 grams of currants. I don't really know what the difference is, to be honest. I have used raisins in the past and it's fine. I have also used double sultanas and that has been fine. So that's all good. And then in our chocolate one, I'm actually going to skip that for a second. So it wants to do 2 minutes of kneading. And when you start it, it will say prolong by up to 1 minute if necessary. So on our chocolate, I'm just going to turn my timer down to 1:30. And on this one, I'm going to turn my timer up to 2:30. That little bit of extra kneading is also going to help with the fluffiness. Now, after 1:30, I'm going to add in my choc chips and I'm going to knead for another minute. If you knead for too long with your choc chips in there, they can get broken down and you'll end up with just a chocolate hot cross bun instead of a choc chip hot cross bun. That's definitely not the worst thing in the world, but I would like some choc chips intact. So I'm going to knead for 1:30, add my choc chips, and then I am going to add another minute onto that timer. So we're going to go, I didn't hit the dough, so we're going to move on to our kneading function. I'm just going to move those away for a minute and hope you guys can still hear me. Can you still hear me okay? Jess, can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? Yeah, awesome. Okay, great. Thanks, guys. Cool. So we've got our dough kneading there, and then we're going to leave it to brew for 30 to 60 minutes. So again, I like to leave mine for that little bit longer to make sure that it's really fluffy. And then here we have some I prepared earlier. So using our Thermomat, so this is your silicone on the outside, fiberglass on the inside mat. It is perfect for proving, shaping, rolling, all of those amazing dough things. Does anyone have a Thermomat at the moment? Do you love it? Pop it in the chat and let me know. Awesome. So this has risen really, really nicely. You can see that it is light and fluffy. You can see all that beautiful fruit in my dough there. There we go. All right. So we're going to knock down a little bit of air out of it, not too much, but knocking down the dough means that they are going to rise again on the next one. One of my thermos has stopped, and I'm going to add in my 150 grams of choc chips. And then I'm going to do another minute of kneading. So you want to knock down a small amount of dough, a small amount of air out of your dough. And then we are going to cut this into 12 equal portions. When you're using a Thermomat, you never want to use a knife because if you cut a hole in it, they aren't usable anymore. So your spatula is the perfect cutting tool. So the easiest way I find is to cut your dough into half, right? So I am no good at getting these even, so bear in mind. I figure they're homemade, so they look a little more rustic, right? So then we're going to cut that into half again. So I want to get 6 out of each side. So, and then I'm going to cut each portion into 3 relatively even pieces. And then do the same thing with this side. This dough was not the same size, so There we go. So I've got my 12 pieces of hot cross bun dough. So you want to flatten it slightly. Now we're going to do a folding technique. So this is going to help to pop an air pocket inside your hot cross bun, which is going to make them rise and be even more fluffy. So I'm going to pull the corner to the middle, turn, pull the corner to the middle, turn, pull the corner to the middle, turn, corner to the middle, turn. Give it a very little kind of roll, flatten. Then I'm going to put it onto my tray. So the trick with bread, if you haven't made a lot of dough before, the less you touch it, the better it's going to be. So the more you touch it, the more dense it's going to be, because you're knocking too much of the air out of it. So we really want to just push slightly, fold, 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 up those little corners, and then onto your tray. Now you want to put them relatively close together, because putting them close together means that they are going to rise slightly into each other, and they're not going to burn and go really hard on the edges. You know, when you buy hot cross buns, they come kind of like in 6 joined together. So you can put them that little bit closer to get them joined, or have that small gap just to have them slightly touching. So we're doing that fold technique with all of them. And there we go. I'm just going to switch to my chocolate ones quickly. So this is my chocolate dough that I prepared earlier. You might notice there are some white choc chips in there because I ran out. I only had a 200-gram bag of choc chips, and because I had to make 2 doughs for the class tonight, we are going to have 48 hot cross buns after tonight. So I'm going to have them coming out our ears. So same thing, we want to knock down our dough, and then I'm just going to cut it in half again, and just doing the same thing. So in half again, and then into our 3 pieces. I don't know if you can see, but there are quite a lot of choc chips in there, which means we haven't smashed them all down when we were kneading, which was great. So I'm going to use the same folding tip. So flatten, pull, 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 and then tuck them down slightly. That is a very large piece of dough. I'm just going to break some off onto that one. As I said, I'm not very good at getting them even, but I figure we're going for like that rustic homemade look, right? So exactly the same thing with our chocolate ones as well. I'm not going to fold them all. I'm just going to do a few. I will do the rest off screen, so you don't have to watch me do every one. But keep on using that fold technique, as I said, because you're just going to get a much nicer, airier, fluffier hot cross bun. All right. So I'm going to pop that to the side for now. And then I'll just show you. That is our dough there, looking beautiful. So we want to pop your bowl upside down onto your thermomat and twist your blades backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards. You'll feel it get looser and looser as your dough starts to fall out. Now, you'll notice there is quite a bit of dough stuck to our blades there. Now, we don't want to waste that. We don't want to waste any hot cross bun dough. So sorry, I know my thermo's off the screen. I'm going to swipe across to my functions, go into my dough mode, sorry, not my dough mode, into my turbo mode, which is our fast, hard chopping. And I'm just going to do 1 second. And then exit the turbo mode. And then your lid will unlock. And I have just used that turbo mode to flick that dough off our blades. So we're not wasting the dough. And also it's going to be a lot easier to clean later. So that's how much dough I got. That's like a half a hot cross bun there. So we're just going to put that one to the side. So that's our just kneaded dough that needs to prove. So thermomats are super handy to roll your dough in and leave it for proving. So I've got 6 of my chocolate and 6 of my fruit rolled for you guys. I will continue rolling them shortly, but there is our fruit dough that I'm going to pop in my thermomat in a moment. I don't think I want to swap just yet. So preheat our oven to 220, line a baking tray with baking paper, transfer dough onto silicone bread mat. This is what we've done. Wrap it to proof, leave it to proof, and then knock down dough, divide into 12 equal portions, form into your balls, and then we're going to make our cross mixture. So we're going to put 80 grams of plain flour. Now, I personally find this makes an absolute ton of cross mixture. If you're just making one batch, you could quite easily halve it, because I find it does 2 at least. So it seems a little bit wasteful. So 80 grams of plain flour, a pinch of salt, a teaspoon of olive oil, again, not a measurer, that'll do, and then 100 grams of water. So this is our cross icing. I just love having the scales in the thermo, because I'm such a messy cook. I don't have to get out 19 different cups. And then we've just got 30 seconds on our timer and around to speed 4. So then we are going to pipe our crosses on. Now, I did see Kirsty, who's in our team, who's the Naked Mixer on Instagram. She made some hot buns that had smiley faces and love hearts and crosses and all different things on them, which I thought was quite fun. So there's no reason why you need to do a cross. You can do any shape on that icing that you like, really. Just finishing off these. I see Angela said she uses a tucking technique for rolls. Angela, I'd love to know how that works. Pop it in the chat and let us know. So with this icing, as I said, I do find that it makes double what you need. So I'm going to use half of it, and then I'm going to add some cocoa and use the other half for my chocolate batch. So I've got them on my tray. So it says pour into piping bag. Perfect. Scrape it down. And there was no need to wash the bowl between those steps. A little bit of hot cross bun dough is not going to hurt. So a great tip is to pop your piping bag on a glass to hold it open. Makes life much easier. Go. And I'm going to put, and I'm just going to hit the back button. I'm going to add a nice big teaspoon of cocoa into the remainder of my icing mixture, and I'm just going to mix that again. We've got our piping bag. Cut the tip off. And then we are going to pipe our hot cross buns. So if you have them nice and close together, it means that you can just run your line all the way along. And then back again the other way. Something like that. Now, like I said, I like to give these a second proof. So it does say to pop them straight into the oven, but I'm going to leave them for about 15 minutes. Time-wise, just depends. So I'm going to pop them, 15 to 30 minutes kind of on the bench like that. And that is going to let them prove even more. And then I'm going to put them into the oven for 10 minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll pop the glaze on together. So we are going to go back over to Lisa, and she's going to show us what she's up to.
Thanks, Charles. So I've just pulled this one out of the fridge, and it has said, obviously, I've made a bit of a mess for that. This is really good for the kids, obviously. It's messy, it's fun, it's tasty, but really good treats as well. So that one's set, but I've got a couple here I made earlier. So these have got the 2 layers. I'm not sure if you can see how thick that is, but it's nice and thick, which is going to hold the rocky road really nicely. I'm going to move on to our rocky road now. So before we start, going to shut down on me. I took too long. Before we start making the rocky road, I'm going to actually blitz up the clinkers. I'm going to put some clinkers in mine. And that's the good thing about rocky road, because I don't particularly like nuts in mine, so I'm not going to put them in. You can put whatever you like. This recipe that I'm using is from the recipe community, and I've actually converted it over to Cookity 3.0 into created recipes. So I'm going to use clinkers. I've got some marshmallows and also some raspberries. And I've just chopped these up with some scissors into really small pieces as well. So I'm going to go in with our clinkers. Lid on, and I'm just going to turbo these for a few seconds just to make them nice and small. Two seconds is perfect, so I'll just show you what that looks like. And get out of turbo. The turbo feature locks the lid, so it's a nice safety feature. So that's chopped them up quite nice and small. So I'm just going to pop that into another bowl. So we continue with our step of the rocky road. I'm going to go into my week. I've saved this one in here. And it's just called Clinker Rocky Road. So you notice on the screen it does look a little bit different because this is a microwave recipe, but it's pretty much the same as Cookidoo guided cooking. So I'm going to place the chocolate and coconut oil in the bowl and chop 10 seconds speed. No, I'm just going to turn that around a little bit. So I'm going to click on my scales. It's only 500 grams of chocolate. Not washing the bowl for the clinkers, that doesn't matter. I'd like to know, has anyone made any Rocky Road recipes in the Thermomix? Let me know in the chat box below. Okay, so I put our chocolate in, and now we need to do our coconut oil, which is 20 grams. And now we're going to put our lid on, and we're going to mix this one 10 seconds, speed 9. 10 seconds, speed 9. Right, so that's blended that all together nicely. We're going to click next. We're going to scrape down the sides of the bowl. Melt it for 5 minutes, 50 degrees, speed 1.
So much melting chocolate going on tonight. Awesome. Your family's going to love you tomorrow. So we're going to go back over to Jess, and she's going to continue on with her salad, and we'll see you back in a few, Lisa.
All right, so mine has all finished cooking. I've already taken the eggs out. And when you look at the screen here, it does say that you may need to have a bit extra time for the potatoes and the salmon, and I did. So while Chelsea was making her hot cross buns, I just put it on for an extra 3 minutes. So I've taken it off here now. I don't know if anyone else does this, but if you take the lid off, the aroma sits perfectly in there and you don't get water all over your bench. you just have it all contained in the lid. So we've got the beans on the top here, all nicely cooked, and the salmon underneath all nicely cooked. So I'll just move them to the side. All right, now we'll go on. And it wants me to clean and dry the bowl, which I won't do. It does have back here, I went on and didn't show it. The TM6 has these great videos on the screen. So this is saying here that we've got to remove the simmering basket with the spatula. So you can see here the spatula's got this great little hook, and the hook goes into the top of the simmering basket, because as you can imagine, this has been cooking for 15 minutes at 120 degrees. It is all really hot, as indicated here by the red lights. So the best thing to do, so if you don't actually understand what it means there, they've got these great videos now that'll show you exactly what it's talking about. So I find them really great. It has them for rolling out pastry. It has them for a lot of things. So I open the lid like that. If you're a team of 5 owner, your simmering basket wouldn't have a lid. So this is just a new feature. So I just open it up like that and then hook it in the bottom, and you can lift up your basket without touching any of the hot liquid. So I'll just get rid of them into another bowl. All right. Go back through where we're up to. So clean and dry the mixing bowl. So as we touched on before, I'm not going to do that. Bonus of the second bowl. I'll just swap bowls again. So I'll grab this one out again. All right, so now it's asking for 1 echalot. So I've just got some spring onion that I'm going to use. So I'll throw that in. Because don't forget, it's guided cooking, not set in stone. So if there's something you don't want to put in, or you don't like, or you think you've made it before and you think something would be better, then the Thermomix isn't going to know. For anchovy fillets, I'm actually going to skip past this. We don't really eat anchovies here, and I know if I'm going to try and get the rest of my family to eat this salad, they're not going to want that in there. So I'm just going to skip straight past that. Put the lid back on. And do 3 seconds on speed 5, just to chop that up. Okay, so that was nice and quick. So I'll just show you there. So that just chopped it up really fast in 3 seconds. I wouldn't have been able to do it that quickly. I always find onion really strong, and spring onion too is still just as strong. So I can't actually look too close to the bowl when I'm doing this, because the fumes are coming out pretty bad. Pop that back in. And half a teaspoon of caster sugar.
No.
Okay, I'll just. Then we've got a teaspoon of Dijon mustard.
Oh no. What,
so now we're just making salad. I'll put a little bit extra for flavour because I don't have the anchovies in there. And then 40 grams of lemon juice. So I think this will be approximately 1 lemon. So we'll give that a go. Maybe not. Okay, I reckon that'll be enough. And 20 grams of olive oil. So often the cookie dough recipes have a lot of oil in them. And depending on what the recipe is, if it's frying and that sort of thing, I often reduce it because it's just more than I would normally use. But in the salad dressing, I would keep it the same. So we're just going to mix all that up now. So I was just going to do 5 seconds on speed 6. So has anyone been making a lot of salads in their Thermomix over summer? I know a lot of people always assume that it's like this misconception that Thermomixes just make stews and soup and all that sort of thing, but we're making some great salads this summer and so quick and easy. I love it. All right, so now we're just going to season with some salt and pepper. So let's pop a little bit of that in. And now is when the steps are going to show us how to actually assemble the salad. So I'll just show you here. As I said, keep in mind this doesn't have the anchovies in it, but that is now our salad dressing that we've made. And it smells really fresh and really delicious, really citrusy, and I think this is going to be really good. I've never made this, disclaimer halfway through, I've never made this recipe before. But that's what I love about the guided cooking, is that it doesn't matter that I've never made it before, because the TM6 is just talking me through every single step. So now, did you want me to put it all together? It's just telling me now, Chelsea, to cut the eggs, slice them up, and then add the potatoes and just pretty much plate it up. So I can just do that quickly off screen if you like, if you want to go on.
Fabulous. Yeah, that will be awesome. Thank you, Jess. I can't wait to see the final result. This salad is sounding amazing, and I think we're going to pop it on our Good Friday menu this year. So thank you. We'll see you in a little bit, and we'll go back over to Lisa.
So my chocolate's melted and it's ready to go. So that was really quick and easy. I stopped it just a couple of times just to make sure it was all melted, wasn't stuck on the side, and it's perfect and ready to go. So now becomes the fun part. We get to chuck in all the lollies. This is something that the kids obviously would absolutely love to do. So scrape down the side. I don't need to melt it any further. It's already melted. So this says set the lid to, set the bowl to 2 minutes, 50 degrees speed 1. And we're going to pop in our lollies while it's moving. So 2 minutes, 50 degrees speed 1. Put that focus in.
How good is that? No hand stirring. I know Rocky Road can be quite tricky to stir, you know, when you're trying to incorporate that chocolate without it setting on you as well. So I love this recipe that you're doing that all in one go there, Lisa. Blades are moving, lollies and marshmallows, and that went in, and the blades are still going, and then she's just giving it a bit of a stir with her spatula as well.
Yeah, that's right. Just helping it incorporate, and it looks really good actually. I might just stop that there. So that's all mixed in pretty well actually. So traditional Rocky Road, you would just put that into a tray, but because we're going to make our Rocky Road eggs, I'm just going to spoon it in. So this is really simple. All we need to do is spoon, and because I've chopped it quite small, it will fit in there nicely. Another alternative you could do is homemade honeycomb. You can make your honeycomb in the Thermomix and pop that in as well. Obviously, we've done milk chocolate tonight, but you could do dark, you could do milk, you could do caramel even. And I like these really rustic, so they're going to be a bit chunky. That's completely fine. Might even drizzle some white chocolate over the top after finished as well. So nice and easy, perfect little gift. Something fun the kids can do as well. Perfect for the Easter long weekend if you're staying home.
Lisa, they look amazing. I think that is such a fun idea. Like, how great making that with the kids. I know my kids would absolutely love doing that. That just seems so simple, like, you know, melting the chocolate, setting it. You just showed us how easy that was, and I'm super impressed. When Lisa suggested this recipe to me the other day, I was like, I don't really get it. And then I saw a picture and I was like, oh, now I get it. It is very, very cool. So thank you so much, Lisa. And we've loved seeing that. We will cut back to you in a little bit. Awesome. So my hot cross buns aren't quite ready yet. Jess, going to throw a spanner in the work. Are you able to show us your next recipe? Yeah, awesome. We've just got Jess just has a quick recipe now, and then I'm just going to finish off my hot cross buns, and then we will be done for tonight. So sorry, Jess, take it away.
Yep. Hang on. I'll just move my salad out of the way and I'll go on. All right, so everyone needs a third bowl. If you bought your Thermomix with 2 bowls, host a cooking experience now and get a third one. They do not go astray. All right, so my next recipe now is for when you've got that glut of chocolate eggs, you can't do too many and you just want to use them up. I'm going to make a hot chocolate using Easter eggs. So I went on, I searched on the recipe community and I picked Chelsea's brain so there are a few on here that are perfect for it. Just waiting for it to load, sorry. I always find the Cookie Dough 3.0 recipes when you make them yourself, they just take that a little bit longer. But my internet tonight is definitely not helping the cause. Go in there again.
I love technology, guys. Internet, amazing when it works. When it doesn't, life falls apart.
All right, so this is what we're doing. So it's it was a bit of a combination. As I said, I looked on the recipe community and I found one that was called the Best Easter Egg Hot Chocolate, so very aptly named. And so I've half adapted that recipe and half adapted another one in there. So we're just going to start cooking. We'll go on, and I've got put 3 to 4 small Easter eggs into the bowl. So I've got 4 Easter eggs here, just the small little Cadbury ones. And then we're just going to mill them down. So we'll just go, oh no, that was to measure them in there. And now we're just going to blitz them 10 seconds on speed 9. So this will probably just cut me out for a sec.
We've done so much blitzing chocolate and melting chocolate tonight. You can tell that it's Easter. You know, Lisa explained earlier why we do the blitzing of the chocolate to help it melt evenly. But imagine if you were doing that by hand, guys. Imagine if you were grating chocolate by hand. I know we've all done it in the past. Look at that.
There, it's really finely grated. Like there is no way I would have lost my knuckles if I tried to grate that. So now we'll go on, and we've got, so I've adapted, so I'm just trying to make one cup for me tonight. So 300 grams of milk to the bowl. So just click on the little scales bit down here and it brings up our scales here. And I'll just weigh in 300 grams of milk. So with this, I'm sure you could use any type of milk that you like. Got it at home here. It's at $2.97, that'll do. Go on. So now we're just going to mix it for 2 minutes and 30 seconds at 65 degrees on speed 2. So this will just be melting the chocolate and warming up the milk at the same time. Then what it did say, one of the tips, was if it does reach the 65 degrees quicker than the 2 minutes 30, you can stop it. So if your milk isn't straight from the fridge and it's not overly cold, you could stop it here before it gets there. So does anyone else be making hot chocolates, putting hot chocolate in their Thermomix?
So Jess, you know,
way to clean your bowl after melting chocolate.
Sorry, Jess, you've just turned into a bit of a robot again, and we've just lost you for a sec.
Sorry, are we back now?
Yeah, better now.
Yeah, so has anyone been making a hot chocolate or using this trick after they've been melting chocolate to make a hot chocolate to clean up? It's the best way to clean your bowl.
Such a great less waste, you know, as well in the house instead of tipping it down the sink. we don't make a lot of hot chocolate in our house, but my husband makes cappuccino in our Thermomix every morning. And the recipe that Jess is using is quite similar to how you make a cappuccino in your Thermomix. So you could make yourself a mocha, throw a spoon of coffee in there as well, and whip up a mocha. But best way to make a coffee or a hot chocolate or a mocha in your thermo, and a huge money saver as well. Think about what you pay for a coffee or even a hot chocolate in a cafe, you know, what, $5-6 for a takeaway coffee or hot chocolate?
Yeah, definitely these days. Yeah, so I may or may not have used your, had a look at your cappuccino to
Love it.
because I'm not a coffee drinker, but I have it on good authority that that coffee recipe is very good that your husband makes.
It is. I don't drink coffee either, but he has a very strong following in his coffee making now, which is quite funny.
So yeah, as you say, so much cheaper if you don't go out and buy it.
Yeah.
All right, so this has got 10 seconds left. I mean, I can see by the temperature dial in the middle that it has actually reached the 65 degrees. So it is perfect. All right, so we'll go on. Now I'll just show you what it's looking like there. So it's literally just chocolate melted in milk at the moment. But what we're going to do now is we're going to blitz it for 20 seconds on speed 8, and that's going to make it really frothy. So we'll just quickly do that. So it might cut me out, but we'll see. Beautiful. So that is done. So now it's as simple as just pour it into a mug. Well, it's beautiful and frothy. The best part is, I don't know if anyone's got a coffee maker or anything like that, but your Thermomix is going to be way easier to clean than your coffee maker.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'll just pour it into my mug here. Nice and beautiful and frothy. There we go. Hot chocolate. Beautiful. And a really good way to use up the kids' Easter eggs when they're in bed. Don't tell them Mum would crack it if they knew.
My kids would also crack it if they knew, but I am one of those parents that purposely eats my kids' Easter eggs so there's less for them to eat. So I'm always like, after Easter. Yeah. So I think that's an awesome idea. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. Loved seeing you do that. And yeah, like I said, making a hot chocolate or a cappuccino is the way to go in the Thermomix. Jess, we'll pop back over shortly to see how the salad's looking.
Yep.
And yeah, we'll see you in a minute. So my hot cross buns are out of the oven and looking amazing. They smell so good as well. Pick them up so you can see them. So we've got our fruit ones there. My crosses are a little bit rustic, like I said, but I think they look pretty great. We've got our chocolate over here as well. So I have just moved on to my next step while Jess was doing that. So the last thing that it asked us to do is to make up our sugar wash, our sugar syrup. So we added 2 tablespoons of sugar into the thermo and 2 tablespoons of water. So then that is cooking for 2 minutes on 100 degrees on speed 4. So that's creating that beautiful sugar syrup for us, or that glaze, and we're going to coat that all over our hot cross buns. And then I'm going to cut one open and show you guys how they look. So we just got 30 seconds there left. You can see that steam coming out. We're at 100 degrees, so that is cooking really nicely. You can hear that our sugar has melted because there's no more of that grainy sound, which is great. Now, I did see that somebody asked if this dough can be frozen. I personally haven't frozen the dough before, but I would assume, like most doughs, you could freeze it after you've kneaded it and it has risen. So let it rise for the hour, and then wrap it up in glad bags with glad wrap and into the freezer. And then just make sure you bring it back to room temp before you work it and shape it to bake as well. Oh, broke my thing. The other thing is obviously they can be frozen like this too. So once they are cooked. So we've just created our glaze. Then I'm just going to get my brush, and don't be shy, give them a really good brush over. And then that is our hot cross buns done. So for those of you that hadn't made hot cross buns before, now that you've seen me do it, do you think it's something that you might feel more comfortable doing? Is it something that you think you'll do before Easter? Pop it in the chat and let us know. And then the same, again, this one makes a massive amount of glaze, so there is enough for my 2 dozen. I didn't double that. All right. Now you want to leave them on your tray for about 5 minutes to cool and let that glaze set. And then you can pop them onto your cooling rack and leave them to cool fully. And then you can store them in an airtight container for a couple of days. You can eat them all hot, whatever it is that you like to do. So we made a couple of batches of these for the teachers last week before holidays at school. So we made some chocolate and some fruit for them. And they were very grateful for their fresh hot cross buns, which was nice. You can get the kids involved to do it with you. I'll just get some butter because you can't have a hot cross bun without butter, right? And I just like to switch my bowl over so my bowl's dirty and I grabbed that clean one. I also have 3 bowls. I think it's an absolute game changer. So you can grab yourself a second bowl as a host reward. So thank you to everybody who invited some friends along tonight with that. Soft, light, fluffy. If you did invite some friends along, please chat to your consultant about how to get your hands on that host reward. And if you are wanting to get a second bowl or a third bowl or a fourth bowl, please reach out to your consultant or please reach out to one of the girls tonight. They would absolutely love to help you. Just by hosting a cooking experience, virtual or in-home, you can get yourself a bowl $100 off, or you can get it down to $110 if a friend purchases a TM6. So great time to have a cooking experience. But there we go. We are done. I'm going to let them cool for a few minutes and then I'm going to eat one of those for dessert. And our chocolate ones are there looking amazing too. Awesome. I'm just going to wash my hands, but we will go back over to Jess and just see how her salad is looking.
All right, so I've plated the salad. So I've actually put it in our oval thermo server, which is at the moment a part like the gift with purchase in the bundle. And that is our salad there. So it is smelling and looking delicious. I'm really a bit sad I've actually already eaten dinner tonight because I think I could definitely just start hoeing into this one. So yeah, this would be perfect on Good Friday. It is just, you've got your salmon and everything else just smells so fresh and delicious. And also just another tip, don't be afraid of recipes that, like, except that Chelsea suggested this one tonight, I would never ever have made this. Looked at it and thought it was too hard and that no one would eat it. And yeah, so it's really good. That's what I love about the cookie dough and the TM6 is that it will talk you through every step of the way and you can open your eyes to just different ways of cooking and different recipes. So that is our salmon salad.
That looks absolutely amazing. And as Jess has said, perfect for Good Friday, or I did say earlier, maybe Easter Sunday dinner after you've binged on hot cross buns and Rocky Road Easter eggs. So I'm definitely looking forward to putting that one on my list as well. So thank you so much, Jess. If you're not already, you can follow Jess on Instagram and she is Thermi Life on the Farm. You can give her a follow and see what she is up to in her Thermomix. And Lisa, we'll just come back to you for another look at those beautiful Easter eggs.
I just put them in the fridge for a little bit so they've set quite nicely. You could put some sprinkles or coconut on top as well. And that's the thing, you can put whatever floats your boat on top of them. So, and that's quite a decent size, I guess. Perfect for kids, cellophane, and give them to family, friends, neighbours, and made in no time.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Lisa. If you're not already following Lisa, you can follow her, and she is I've gone blank, Lisa.
Thermomix for 6.
I knew it. Thermomix for 6. I'm sorry. You can follow her on Instagram and see what her and her lovely family are making in their Thermomix. So thank you, Lisa. All right, so a huge thank you to Lisa and Jess for cooking with me tonight. We don't get paid to run these cooking classes. We do it just to support you guys in your customer journey, because we do want to make sure that you love your Thermomix as much as you love ours. So thank you so much to the girls. I would love to know, what was your favorite dish tonight? What's the first thing you're going to make after watching us tonight? Was there a tip that you picked up? Pop it in the chat and let us know what you got out of tonight's cooking class. A huge thank you to every one of you for coming along to join us tonight. We really love doing these classes for you, as I said, just to make sure that you are really inspired and trying new things. If you are wanting to find out how to get a really cheap second bowl, please reach out to the girls or your consultant. They would absolutely love to help you out to get a really cheap second bowl. That is running through till the 12th of May, so still a little bit of time left there. If you would like a little bit more information about joining our team, please send one of us a message as well, because we would love to have that conversation with you. We're always looking for some wonderful new people to come along and join us. We have lots of fun. There are lots of great incentives to earn along the way as well, and a really great commission too. So if you'd like to find out a little bit more, please let us know. All of the recipes that we used tonight you can find on Cookie Do, and then Lisa's Rocky Road was on the recipe community, as well as that hot chocolate. So you can jump on and have a look for those. If you do have any questions, please reach out. We would love to hear it, love to help you. And then please let us know if you do make any of the dishes that we've made tonight, because feel free to send us some photos, tag us on Instagram. We love seeing what you guys are making. Thank you again, everybody, for coming along. We'll be back in about 2 or 3 weeks with our next cooking class, which is unplanned right now. So if you do have any suggestions of things you'd like to see us doing, please pop it in the chat or shoot us a message, because we'd love to organise that as well. Thank you so much, everyone, and we'll see you soon.